1997, Scott Gibbs. 2001, nobody, but it's probably Brian O'Driscoll. 2005, Ryan Jones. 2009, Jamie Roberts. 2013, Stephen Lee Halfpenny. 2017, Jonathan the Fox Davis. 2021, Maro the Fox Itoje. 2025, question mark.
Whoa.
Now, the official man of the series has been named as Tyburn. The Howden's Insurance man of the tour has been named as Finn Russell. No one gives a shit about either of those. What they all want to know is the Squidge Rugby player of the tour
This is the
and player of the
decider.
series.
This is the decider. Because what a great way to send off the Lions is having, after a Test series win, which kind of puts to bed any selection arguments that happened prior to that, right? Leaving Scottish and Irish fans arguing over which player is actually the player of the series. And so we're going to put it to bed by deciding the Squidge one.
Yeah.
But you very rightly make a point there that it's not just the player of the series, but also player of the tour, because they are two very different things, I think.
Yeah, yeah. The official Lions medal is named the Tom Richards Medal, which is named after a guy who is a world-class bullshitter who played for both basically the Lions and Australia.
Okay.
But also claimed to have fought in the Boer War, which happened when he was 3 years old.
So it's giving William Webb Ellis.
There's a bunch of claims he made that are all bullshit. If you go and look him up, he's got this unbelievable biography. Then you fact check it and you're like, you did. Literally the only thing here is you played for the Wallabies.
Was he made up by Cammy Black from the Scottish Rugby Pod?
Possibly. So we are instead going to name this after Sinbad. The Sinbad medal.
The Sinbad medal.
We're going to pick first, I think, a player of the tour, then we'll go to play the series.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
But I want to throw out an Australian and a Lions player in both examples, both cases.
Yes.
And I want to start with an Australian player of the tour.
Yes.
And I think this is the most open and shut case of the lot.
I think so.
I don't think we need to gamble very hard on who it's going to be.
We don't. We don't. So the official Wally presented Australian player of the British and Irish Lions Tour for Squidge Rugby in 2025 has to be Charlie Gamble.
It does.
What a great player he's been. He's just been great fun to watch. As a guy who's just wanted to have a crack at the Lions and really enjoyed his opportunity, he's put himself on the map. And I love that. He's a Kiwi who's come over and played in Australia for a few years. So this has been the perfect opportunity to put himself on the map, at international level. Ben Earl came out and said, I thought he was outstanding. I thought he actually outplayed us at moments in the Waratahs game. And he got another crack in the AUNZ Invitational team. And he was just great. I've just loved watching him play. A pest at the breakdown and a great ball carrier as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so good at the breakdown, wins countless turnovers. As I said, a real pest, that was the term. And you just know Rob Baxter is opening his checkbook right now. You know Alex Sanderson is going, Rob, you're not looking at this lad, are you? Because I've got my eyes on him. You know there are teams lining up. The Pro Day Dirt is in a bidding war right now for this kid. He's superb. He's been great fun. Undoubtedly, Australian player of the wider tour.
Yeah.
Lions player of the wider tour, and I think we'll discount the tests, but we will count the Argentina game.
Okay.
So Argentina through to, we'll count the First Nations Pacifica game, right? So every game that wasn't a test match, where caps weren't awarded, who would be your Lions player of that period?
It's really tough, but I think I'm leaning gradually in one direction. And I want to go with Ellis Genge.
He was my instinct as well.
Yeah?
He was my instinct. I think Joe McCarthy put up a really good fight for that.
Yeah.
I thought McCarthy was outstanding. Just brilliant the way he threw himself around the pitch. But I think Genge had the added element of he's a brilliant set-piece player.
Yeah.
So he had a core role he was executing as well and being a dominant scrummager as well as all the extras, where Joe McCarthy was kind of 100% extras. Incredible defensively, incredible at the breakdown, incredible on his own ball at the ruck, and particularly good carrying. That was a real USP there. But I think isn't a brilliant line-out forward. I took the fewest line-outs of, most of the back rowers took more line-outs than him rather than Morgan and Earl. So I think maybe that knocks 1 point off him, but I think it's kind of those two are the standouts for me.
Yeah. Again, looking at the Argentina game and how he played there, you were like, He could do a job in a test match.
Yeah.
And from there, whether it was starting or off the bench, he was just really contributing something to the Lions. And we've talked separately about his off-field stuff and how great that all was. But yeah, I just feel like every single carry he made was positive the whole tour. And every tackle he made was dominant all tour.
Yeah.
And everything he did, like, he just brought something to the pitch. And just, I don't know, as a Lions fan, like, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I thought Genge was just phenomenal. And the sheer passion and spirit he played with, the way he's talked about how much he loved the Lions, his kids being dressed up as Lions on squad announcement day, the whole like spirit around him, the way he came out in that Argentina game in particular, and looked like this is a game he's been waiting for his entire life, and was so fired up and so aggressive, but also incredibly controlled. And yeah, for me, the player of the tour. Can I throw out a third place though, a bronze medal contender?
Go on.
Alex Mitchell.
Yeah.
Who has been great, has played very, very well, got the One Man of the Match award, I thought very well deserved, I thought was great, picked up 2 test caps along the way, but was in the 23, the match of 23, for all 9 games on this tour.
Yeah.
The only player to do that, I think the only player in the professional era to be in the matchday squad for every single game on a tour.
Yeah.
And you can't really ask for more than that. Part of that was because Thomas Williams picked up that injury early on and it took a few days for Ben White to fly out. But he just turned up and he backed up and backed up and backed up, gave everything tirelessly. He must be shattered at this point.
Yeah.
And yet, even by the end of the tour, was bringing some impetus off the bench, bringing a bit of pace and zip. I can't ask for any more from a tourist.
He's like your player's player of the season,
Yeah.
isn't he? That he turns up every single game, every session, sometimes backing up and like a 2 or 3 day turnaround. Like, I know he didn't get on in the First Nations game, but like that was 3 days after the first test where he did play in it. I know he only played like 20 odd minutes, but the fact that he was willing to just say, yeah, go on then, I'll sit on the bench.
Yeah.
You know, don't bother flying somebody else out or like sacrificing your scrum half or training someone else to play there. I'll just play.
There's a chance that Ben White picks up an injury 3 minutes in and he has to play 70 odd minutes. And then Gibson Park picks up an injury in the following test.
But on the flip side, right, as much as like Alex Mitchell is a young player who is brilliant, there's a chance he never goes on another Lions tour again. Yeah. And he's taken this opportunity with both hands. And so, like, yeah, as a kind of, players player / supporters player thing.
If we're doing a Spirit of the Lions thing, right, he's right up there in terms of the way he's both gone about preparing the team elsewhere and providing that, but just like turning out constantly and being involved constantly and backing up.
An important cog in the squad.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
Andy Farrell, I'm sure, is very grateful for his contribution to this tour.
Yeah. So. I think that's the thing, like him being made of plastic, he can just fit any hole they need.
Yeah, that's clearly it.
So, okay, gold Ellis Genge, silver Joe McCarthy, bronze Alex Mitchell.
I back
the
that.
tour? Yeah?
Yeah, I back that.
Okay. Test series. Right.
Yes.
Player of the series. Should we do Australia first again?
Yeah, I've thought a little bit less about this, but we can discuss this as we go. So
this is a tough one.
Yeah, if you take it by game, like Test 2, Jake Gordon was outstanding.
Yes, he was.
I would have given him the man of the match.
Agreed.
He was absolutely incredible. I only would have given the man of the match because Rob Valentini only played a half.
Yeah.
He otherwise would have had that pretty much sewn up. A word for Rob Valentini for this medal because he played one half of the 6, and if he played 4 or more, he probably would have walked.
It'd be him.
Yeah. However, in Game 3, they rolled the dice and put in Nick White, who was an outstanding performance. And the question is then, do those two take points off each other? As well as the fact that Jake Gordon was slated by Australia fans after Test 1 and backed up Test 2.
Test 1, he wasn't great. Test 2 was the game of his life.
Yeah.
Tate McDermott, also brilliant while we're talking scrum halves, off the bench, brought real impact.
Yeah.
I've said repeatedly, right, he's not the best number 9 in Australia, but he is the best number 21 in the world.
Yeah.
No one can turn a game like him. He is just outstanding.
Yeah.
And maybe he is the best scrum half in Australia, but like he's better used off the bench because no one changed the game like him.
That's a whole game plan in itself, is bringing on Tate McDermott with 20 to go.
Yeah.
Because we saw it, he scored 2 tries in 2 of the tests. And him and Jorgensen both did that, but not many players have done that in Lions Test Series before.
Yeah. You just brought up someone that I think is right up there, which is Max Jorgensen. I can't believe how good he's become. I can't believe the levels he's gone up. I said in our review of the third test, I think he's already exceeded where I thought his ceiling was in the autumn. I think he's already a better player than that. The way he has developed every rough area of his game, his try in the first set is unbelievable. Very few players beat Hugo Keane in the air like that, strip him like that.
Yeah.
Then he's trying the third test being so alert, his sheer pace, the way in which he gets himself involved in the game, he wraps around, he's always looking for work, he's always keeping involved. He works incredibly hard in attack and defence. He's sorted out any of the areas of defence where perhaps like anything that was slightly naive, he's got more intelligent, he's clearly incredibly coachable and works incredibly hard. Like he got about 6 inches of space on this tour, in this test series, and yet he made miles over the 3 tests. Like every game he was unbelievable. He scored 2 tries, he created 2 more, he almost created the third in the third test. I don't think you can ask for any more from a young winger.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of like young Ben Smith when he first came through, and he's
much quicker than Ben Smith.
He's got finishing instinct, and yet he's just really composed in all the decisions he makes, and like the lines he cuts, and defensively, like he's really just strong in every area of the park. And yeah, he's just somebody I think Australia will be relying on for years to come. He's so far beyond his years, so he's a great one. We should talk about Will Skelton.
We should.
Because he missed test 1 and then he made such an impact in tests 2 and 3. You have to question whether that can't be a coincidence, especially considering we've come away from both tests 2 and 3, and in our analysis of both, we've gone, oh, look at how bloody good Will Skelton was.
I think Will Skelton might be the Australian player of the tour.
Think.
I think he has had his 2 best games for Australia back-to-back.
Yeah.
I think he changed the series. Him and Valentini coming in together changed things entirely, changed the prospect, up the intensity. Yeah. And then they're able to replicate Valentini in the aggregate by bringing Tupou in, by bringing Tom Hooper in, and between them they made up a Valentini.
Yeah.
So you kind of made up for that and made up for that impact, but you rarely see a player turn a game and change a prospect in a test series like Skelton did. Like I thought he was sensational. I'm not 100% fixed on him, but he is my instinct. I think there's another guy who is well worth discussing who gave absolutely everything, which is Harry Wilson.
Oh, yes. Test 1, he was incredible.
Yeah.
And he carried Australia for a lot of that test.
And I love him as Wallabies captain. I think he's clearly a guy who absolutely loves the Wallabies as a team.
Yeah.
He loves rugby union. If you ever hear him talk, whether it be to referees or off the pitch, he loves a bit of union. He loves a bit of code. And he clearly is so into the game. He's one of 2 players I've ever seen do the thing where if a ball bounces off the crossbar, if the ball bounces off the post from a shot at goal, it's the only circumstances in which you can call a mark from a shot at goal or a drop goal attempt. And he did that, and he was buzzing when he did that, and then went for the front himself, made 2 kicks as well, kind of tactical kicks for the corner. He feels like a guy who loves rugby union and was so proud of being the captain in a Lions series, and that meant a lot to him, and he gave every drop of himself throughout all 3 tests. And he played 80 in all 3 tests, so I think that really brings him up. For me, I think it is Jorgensen would be on the medal podium for me, but I think it's between Skelton and Wilson, and I think pound for pound Skelton was the best player, well, pound for pound Valentini was, but Skelton and then Wilson probably playing all 3 tests and playing 80 minutes.
Got to give a shout out to Tom Liner as well, because he turned himself
the way
around.
He recovered.
From test 1, he was really poor.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm not going to put him on the podium, but in tests 2 and 3, he showed he's much closer to his ceiling than a lot of us kind of judged him as in test 1. So I've got to give him his dues. But I think it's fair to have that as a podium.
Len Ikitau, Joe Suoli,
very good. Yeah.
Both excellent.
Yeah.
And like Ikitau had a quiet first test, then really woke up for the second and third where I thought he was great.
Yeah.
Tom Wright had some great touches, but I think probably not quite enough.
Wanted to see a little bit more of him.
Yeah.
With the ball in hand, but
Dylan Peach was brilliant once he got a chance. Also someone I think goes on the podium of Australian tourists for me.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do a bronze and silver there, but I think he'd probably be my silver medal behind Charlie Gamble.
Purecki as well, had a very good series.
Uru Efrat is maybe my bronze on that category, by the way.
Yeah, okay, I like that. But, okay, if we're figuring out an actual medal for this, like who we're giving this to. So originally, I think I was kind of leaning in the direction of Jorgensen. However, I think you have talked me around with Skelton. I feel like it can't be a coincidence, just how many gears Australia went up when, granted it was him and Valentini as a double act.
Yeah.
But
we then put Tupou and Hooper in to replicate him.
And McWright obviously being himself.
Nick Frost has been great.
He has.
Fraser McWright has been great.
You know what, thinking about it, I think I'd give it to Harry Wilson.
I can very much back up Harry Wilson.
I think he's a proper captain. I think he's just grown and really matured with that as a role.
Yeah.
Like, it felt originally when it was given to him, like, because he'd previously been dropped by Dave Rennie or rested by Dave Rennie. It's quite unclear what actually happened.
Eddie Jones that dropped him.
Eddie Jones got rid of him for a little bit as well. Like, he's kind of been a bit back and forth, and then it felt very sudden when he was given the captaincy, but now it just feels really natural.
Yeah.
He just is the guy to lead them.
I remember saying a couple of times on the channel that I've never looked at a guy when he was uncapped and gone, that guy's going to win at least 50 caps.
Yeah.
Like, I've never felt safer in that than Harry Wilson. I did.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's the Australian number 8 for the next decade.
Who's your instinct at the moment?
My instinct is Skelton with Wilson and not McDermott and Jorgensen as the next two.
I'm pretty much. You know what? I will concede that.
Okay.
I think we'll go with Skelton.
I would stand by Wilson as well.
Yeah.
We're going.
That's the podium
Skelton,
regardless. Let's go Skelton top.
Wilson, Jorgo.
Skelton by a whisker or by a few metres because of how tall he is. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You get size advantage.
That's it, though. The thing is, you can put Wilson on the top of the podium and Skelton in second place, and he will still come out taller.
Yeah.
So that has given
That's
Skelton
what we're
the advantage.
doing, yeah.
We're putting Wilson
We're putting
in first
Skelton
place.
in second, but Skelton, we're judging it by their total height at the top of the podium.
Yeah. So Skelton catches the gold medal first.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Lions one. This is a really interesting one. As you mentioned, it was kind of split between Tyg Burn and Finn Russell. It's a very weird one to judge because Finn Russell, some people seem to have jumped to the conclusion that he played really poorly in Test 2. I wouldn't agree with that.
No, I thought he was great.
Yeah, I thought he played very well and he managed the game really well. I just think we saw different things from Finn Russell in every test that he played. Because in Test 1...
what a versatile and brilliant player he is.
Yeah, in Test 1, he did the thing the Lions have been doing all tour, where he played really flat to the line and just brought the best out of his forward pack. The second test, he was playing more like an actual fly half and like bringing his back line into the game and like kicking quite well and passing quite, and like just generally allowing the game plan to speak for itself a bit more. And then in Test 3, he went off script and kicked really well. He was like going for kicks that weren't necessarily in the game plan because the conditions were so erratic and weird. And obviously the Lions were playing a little bit more on the back foot because Australia's pack was so dominant in that. So he had to really adapt. So Finn Russell is definitely a player I think is in contention for this.
Yeah. However, right, Tyg Burn we can't look beyond. He looked pretty tired over the tour. He played more minutes than any other Lion this tour. He's played more minutes than any other player in the Premiership or I was about to say Pro 12 and I was about to say Pro 14 and URC this season. In all, including international and Lions duty. He looked pretty tired in the tour, but it turned out he was just saving himself up. A bit like Gus Creevy saving up for that All Blacks game. He's saving up for 3 games of just monumental effort. His work rate in that first test was exceptional. I think it was 26 tackles and 4 turnovers. I think it was later reduced to 3, but like still insane stats.
Yeah.
And then he kept that effort levels up for the next 2 games.
It was easy to reduce his selection in the starting team as a back row forward to the fact that he brings A, a jackal threat, and B, a line-out option.
Yeah.
But then you remember, like, he's Tyg bloody Burn. Even if he's not been at a 10 out of 10 throughout the tour games, he's still Tyg bloody Burn, and he's a test match player.
You think about 4 years ago, he was the opposite. He was brilliant in the tour games, then was benched in the series and didn't really bring much impact.
Yeah.
And he's then flipped that and become this test match animal. And instead, 4 years ago, he was hitting his angles and he was doing the more expansive and the kind of, the Tyg Burn running as an extra centre thing that he used to do a lot. And now he's become more of a gnarly second row forward. He's become much more of a Munster player over the last 4 years.
Sure.
He's become like an archetypal Munster guy in that he is slowly crafting himself into Paul O'Connell in a blue hat.
Yeah.
And I've loved watching that. And I loved having him out there as this kind of like very dynamic regen of Paul O'Connell, of kind of playing with that style and that attitude and that heart and spirit and like love for the Lions, like determination to give everything for the team.
Yeah.
And I think he's right up there. I think he's got to be on the podium for me. But I want to throw out another name.
Yeah.
Just Mr. Thomas Curry.
He ain't been bad, has he?
No.
Tom Curry. Again, another one who's had, I would say he had some mixed reviews through the group games, the warm-up games. Before the tests, and then he scratched a lot of heads when it came to his test selection. But immediately in Test 1, you saw why he was in there, because he just hits everything. He doesn't stop.
Yeah.
His level of fitness is insane. And the thing that I always say when I'm talking about Tom Curry is what he does for a living is not designed to be done by a human body. Like, he is out there just breaking himself in like constantly then getting up and going, brilliant, how can I do it again? Like, what can I do to help us cross the line and win this game? With this weird sport where you run into each other and steal the ball off each other and run into people. Like, the most efficient way of winning that game isn't natural for a human body. And he completely exceeds what a body is supposed to do.
Tom Curry is the most compelling evidence that rugby should really be played by androids.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. He was tireless. He, I think, probably broke about 60% of the bones in his body. It felt a little bit like he had a checklist of injuries he hadn't picked up yet, and he was determined to get them over the course of the series. Just the way he flies into everything, the way in which he can't help himself but make a double involvement. He's the kind of guy who I would highly recommend, if anyone watches the test back, just pull a passage of the Lions defending and watch Tom Curry one-on-one. And the number of times you will see him being on there, right? And maybe the guy inside him makes the tackle. He will then go in, hit the ruck, just nudge the ruck rather. Anyway, he'll then pull out, they'll make a carry, make a tackle on him, immediately get back up to his feet. He'll then contest for the ball, he'll get cleared out, and he'll then just go in and try and reach over and play the 9. And he'll make like 4 or 5 tiny involvements in the space of often like 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And those things are so valuable if you're a coach. The sheer number of, like, we talk about how Jack Morgan, Josh van der Fleer, Caelan Doris, Quagga Smith, Artie Sarvea make an unreal number of clean outs, carries and tackles, right? The thing that no stat tracks is how often do you get him and just put your hand in the scrum half's way? Yeah. How often do you get in there and you just put like an extra shoulder on and you're not a tackler, but you just hold the momentum a little bit, then bounce out to the next phase? Yeah. And those are the things Tom Curry brings. And those are the things that coaches spot. And it's why Steve Borthwick will pick him every single game. It's why Alex Sanderson will pick him every single game and tell him never to train again in order to make that possible. It's why Andy Farrell put him in that team, because you notice those when you're reviewing a game and going over it and you're looking at particular players' performances.
If you end up doing, Broncos or whatever in training to test who the fittest player is, the guy who I would guess would win that in the Lions camp would probably be someone like Alex Mitchell or James Gibson Park. Like, those guys are incredibly physically fit. But what
Justin Tipperick.
Yeah. What that doesn't account for, other than maybe like doing down ups or whatever, right, is the fact that the most tiring part of playing rugby union is impact. Yeah. It is making tackles, it's getting tackled, it is getting cleared out of breakdowns, it's stealing the ball, it's hitting people, right?
And then getting back up off the floor afterwards.
And doing it again, right? Tom Curry is the fittest player, like in this Lions team. And like Josh van der Fleer probably is up there as well. Because like the amount that Tom Curry in particular doesn't stop running. Yeah. He doesn't stop moving between those impacts. And again, like, I can't help but sound kind of concerned when he does it, because like it's so reckless, but it's incredible to watch. Yeah. And there's been an incredible dynamic on this back row where Jack Conan, who deserves a shout because he's been so solid at the back, like, and again, whilst we're talking of like solid at the back, Hugo Keenan is a player that I've loved on this. Like, I think he's been so consistent in all of these, and just the mistakes that people have pulled out as him having made have only happened because he's got into the position in the first place.
He's done more than a normal fullback could be expected to do.
Yeah.
Get into those positions.
Like that one in the first test where he covered the ground, got the ball and then was pushed into touch and knocked it on, right? That only happened because like if another fullback was there, it would have bounced and been a 50-22.
Exactly. 99% of fullbacks miss that ball in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, and actually, you'd probably rather concede a scrum 10 metres out from your own 22 than a 50-22 in your own.
Exactly. Like, it's actually a territory game.
Yeah.
Like, if the mistake was going to be made anyway, Hugo Keenan I love, but I feel like the guys were picked out probably contesting for that podium place that we're on about. But
one other guy I want to throw out,
go on,
if that's okay. The captain, Maro Itoje.
Yes. Brilliant captain he has been.
Yes. Went off injured in the first half of the third test, which did hurt the Lions.
Yeah.
But in the first two was himself, which is the highest praise you can give.
The main line-out man on tour as well.
Main line-out operator, main line-out caller, has been brilliant at that set piece as well as around the park. He's made a couple of great carries, but it's primarily his work rate at the breakdown and defensively, where he is all over.
At the maul as well, got a crucial turnover.
I think 3 critical maul turnovers he won over the course of the series.
Yeah. Are we agreed though that the podium is probably between Russell, Byrne, and Curry? Do we think?
I would put Itoje over Russell.
Itoje over Russell. Yeah. Okay, I'll back that. Back that. Let's say Itoje.
I would say Russell's number 4 for me.
Yeah. Let's say Itoje's in bronze at this point. So it's a battle between those two flankers for the top spot. I just want to quickly shout out, because we did Tate McDermott as a impact
player.
sub because it's a 23-man game,
Yeah.
right? I've got to say Jack Morgan's been
Yes.
brilliant as well.
If we're throwing
just
out-
because I really like the dynamic. And one thing you got to, when you're comparing these players, Tyke Burn did the 83 times there. He played every minute of this test series. Tom Curry...
Him and Hugh Keane were the only players to do that.
Yeah, Tom Curry emptied himself for 50, and then Jack Morgan rolls on and goes, brilliant, I'll do what you were doing, but for 30. And I think that's a genius way of doing it, that you have those two guys to play a similar but slightly adaptive role, and Morgan can come on and just... It sounds like I'm selling him short by saying that he was doing the Curry thing, because he added to the pitch as well. He added his own game, and I really liked that. And again, rugby is such a 23-man game, and obviously Wales could never afford to put Jack Morgan on the bench because they're simply not a good enough team for that, right? But again, if you were playing, the beauty of these invitational teams, whether it is British and Irish Lions, a European team, a world team, whatever it is, whatever, having Jack Morgan in that bench flanker role for a lunatic like Tom Curry really worked as a dynamic, and I really enjoyed that.
There was a game we came off the bench, I believe against the Scarlets this season, where he'd been injured, came on for 20 minutes and completed the game and won the game, almost on his own. And he proved what a brilliant player he can be in that role. And there's a couple of times coming off of Justin Tipperick over his early part of his career, but he's a brilliant impact player, but as you say, you never get to see it.
Deserves a shout out because
I think if we're talking about
legends.
a bench player of the tour, right, or the series, I think it's him and Ellis Genge.
Yeah.
I think Farrell got the selection wrong
Genji.
on the bench in the first test, and they didn't really make an impact, that bench. And then actually having Genge and Jack Morgan come on, I think I'd kind of split the award between the two of them because they both came on and added so much.
And it's not because Porter's a better player than Genge, it's because Genge is a better impact player than Porter.
Yeah. However, the best individual impact performance was James Ryan in the second test.
Yeah, it was.
So who gave one of the great all-time off-the-bench second-row performances.
Huge shout-out to that man.
Okay.
But we have to try and
two.
differentiate those
Now,
top two. It's almost impossible.
If you'd asked me before the third test, I was nailed on. It was Tom Curry who played the series for me.
Yeah.
He was it. He was the guy. I think Tyke Burn had a strong game in the third test, but I've had those as 1 and 2. So I think I'm inclined to agree with the official verdict that it was Burn. But also my gut still says Curry.
Yeah, I'm leaning Curry, but obviously Burn played about 50-odd minutes more of this series than Curry did, so that obviously leans in his favour, and I feel like that's quite significant.
Yeah.
Instinctively, I'm leaning Curry, but I would not mind if you overruled and went Burn.
I think heart says Curry, head says Burn.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to do heads or tails, never mind head or heart at this point.
No,
I think it's so tight between them.
Yeah. I'm going to say, right, we have a blue scrum cap here.
We do.
I reckon that Die the Dragon there is doing his best impression for the day of Tyke Burn.
Okay. He's recreating a Scarlets era.
Yes, indeed.
Of red shirt,
but wearing an
hat.
Ospreys hat. Yes.
We're going Tyke Burn, Tom Curry, and Mauro Toge.
Yeah.
With Finn Russell in fourth.
Yeah.
And James Lowe at fifth or something. I don't know. We're not ranking them beyond that. It's not. Okay, that was surprisingly tough.
It was, wasn't it?
In a word, flop of the tour. I think it's fairly obvious.
Flop of the tour.
Flop of the tour. 4 letters. D, V, D, M.
Johan van der Merwe.
Just worth the gamble, worth the shot. Solid Six Nations. Brilliant player. Great on the tour 4 years ago.
He could score tries.
He can score tries. Finished the tour as top try scorer. And yet, not his best rugby.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there. Wally, you happy?
Yeah, mate.